As the movie starts, we see a restaurant where a boy is sitting dejected. His condition is worst because he has been suffering from insomnia for many nights. Here, insomnia means the inability to sleep. The reason was this, as he had a nightmare when he used to sleep, in which he used to be afraid. He faces the same in reality whatever he dreams. So he was afraid of sleeping. He falls asleep while sitting in the restaurant. But how could he avoid sleep? He dreams the whole restaurant is abandoned. He also catches the sight of a burning fire. Then a mysterious man enters the restaurant whose body is burned. His hand is covered with a bladed gardener's glove. His name is Freddy, who used to scare this boy in a dream, and he is also nearly to attack that boy. This boy covers his mouth with his hand, so his hand is wounded with the blade. Suddenly, he wakes up here and he immediately notices his hand, because he knew that it may also be the reality which was dreamed. His hand is wounded in reality and it is bleeding now. He starts to clean his blood, then his friend approaches there. She was a blonde-haired girl. She explains to her friend, "It may be your hallucination. It may be your fantasy. Do you not harm yourself?" Her friend tells her that, "I'm telling you, whenever I fall asleep, I have a nightmare and Freddy is after me. He has wounded his hand. I'm not getting strength to sleep for several days and nights," but his friend is not believing in him. Then that boy again falls asleep. He again dreams of Freddy, who is beating him. But in real world, that boy's friend and a waitress named Nancy are observing him. Then that boy himself is cutting his throat. He has a knife in his hand, and so he commits suicide while cutting his throat. Now, Nancy and the blonde-haired girl start to scream. The next day, there is a ceremony of funeral of this boy. His friend is stood there in dejection. There is also a little girl. She had a mark on her dress as someone has wounded her while attacking with his sharp nails. Then Freddy's hand drags that girl, appearing there. The old friend of the blonde-haired girl is also approached there. That girl tells him that, "My friend did not commit suicide. Someone has rather killed him. He used to tell me, but I did not believe in his story at that time. I have witnessed and it cannot be just freak." There is also a waitress named Nancy, who is also the leading character of this movie. She hears the conversation of both. She moves to them to reveal that boy used to speak truth. Actually, Nancy was that boy's classmate, and she knew that he had such nightmares from the very beginning, but he was not given the chance to speak out. Now, the strange happening had started to occur after that boy's death. His friend had started to face the same. Freddy used to frighten to that blonde-haired girl. She had become the part of her dream. Once, that girl was in her room. Then, she falls asleep and meets Freddy in her dream. The whole classroom is filled with water and enveloped in darkness. Then, Freddy appears from the front, having long nails which were blades. He cuts the hair of blonde-haired girl, coming beside her. That girl shouts and she wakes up with it. Her classmates are astonished with the thought what has happened with her. When that girl glimpses her book, then her cut hair are really lying there. She gets worried, but this mishap had not stopped here. She gradually has more nightmares. Freddy always used to scare her. She is very panicked on a day. Her old friend comes to meet her. He tells her that, "I'm having the same nightmare as you do," in which Freddy is attempting to murder me. They both decide that they will stay tonight together because both of them were very frightened. That girl dreams after falling asleep. As her dog has been killed by Freddy, she wakes up, but she was also not in the real world. It means that she was dreaming in a dream that her dog has been killed by someone. And it was also her dream when she had awakened. She is dreaming as Freddy is lying down beside her. In fact, her friend is also with her. Freddy starts to throw her into the air, and she strikes her brutally. That time is also arrived when Freddy takes the life of this girl. That friend is also awakened now, who was sleeping beside her. When he witnessed the condition of his friend, then he is panicked. Then he recalls that Nancy is wanting to tell something about Freddy. He instantly moves to Nancy's house. He says to her, "I know that you know everything." He says, "Leave everything. You have also awareness. Why is this happening? Tell me, who is Freddy?" Nancy tells that, "I only know that his victim hears a music. The song is, 1, 2, Freddy is coming for you. It means it is counted that Freddy is coming to you. That boy says to Nancy, okay, you have also knowledge about the song, but I don't want that you face what has happened with us, so don't sleep. Otherwise, Freddy will also become the part of your dream. Then the police officers arrives there. They are thinking this boy had visited his friend's house and she dies at the same night, so he had murdered her. So the police officers arrest that boy and he is imprisoned. But Freddy had not stopped chasing him even in the prison. Freddy also comes in the dream again as he falls asleep. It is an abandoned factory which is looking very frightful and dark. That boy is walking there and Freddy is also exactly after him. That boy notices that there is his friend's dead body. This is the dead body which was also in the real world, but it may be in the custody of police. But Freddy had hanged that girl's dead body in his world. Now he also kills that boy violently. He also hanged his dead body beside him. It is also seen in the real world. That boy is dead now. His body begins to bleed. Now, Nancy comes on the scene who is very upset and she is seated with her bottom friend. He tells Nancy that I'm also having the same nightmares and it is nothing for me but just a nightmare. It did not happen in the actual life what I faced in a dream. So I don't trust it that Freddy kills you while coming. Yes, it is all rubbish and there are just your imaginations. Yes, I take dose of medicine when I feel more afraid that I may not sleep. But how will the time be taken to avoid sleep? Actually, he is trying to explain Nancy, but Nancy says that you have knowledge. Afterwards, she returns to her home and she is taking bath at night. She falls asleep, but she has set the alarm in her mobile phone for her defense, so that she may not fall asleep for a long time. There is a specified time as Freddy will kill you after that time, and Nancy had set the alarm. She observes herself in a school in her dream. There is also Freddy who is going to kill her. Then her phone's alarm rings up and she wakes up fortunately as per planned. Nancy asks her mother, directly moving to her, why do I dream of a school? Why is Freddy chasing me in the school? Her mother says to her, your insomnia and sense of fear are the cause of it. Nancy asks, why do you all think this? And she returns back. She begins to search for something. She gets an old photo. There were also her class fellows with her. She sees that her class fellows have been murdered and their killer is not anyone else but Freddy. Then her mother comes to her and says, Nancy, if you really want to know what happened, then listen. Nancy's mother reveals to her, I admitted you in a school in your childhood. There were also other small and cute kids. There was the gardener of that school. He used to love all the kids. Then all parents begins to suspect, why do he love all of you so much? Then it was known by us that his thoughts were cheap, so we keep all our kids far from there, and we wanted to capture him. His name was Fred, while he was also called by his nickname Freddy. But he fled before we succeeded to capture him. No one saw him. Nancy asks her mother, is he not taking revenge now? Look at this photo. All my class fellows in this photo have been killed. Nancy comes to know while searching and contacting with her other friends that then she knows that they have also not remained alive. Now the alive classmates are Nancy and her close friend who does not trust these stories. Now Nancy's friend is seen who is swimming, but he falls asleep there because of not sleeping for many nights. Because swimming pool is chilly and he begins to sleep soundly. But how did he know that he will face the same at this time what the other people had been facing? He reaches that factory where the dead bodies of those people would nest. He is also in the water there. He notices that many people are chasing Freddy. Then Freddy reaches a factory, but old people who are the parents of the kids, they burn the factory, locking Freddy into it. Consequently, Freddy burns alive. Fortunately, Nancy's friend wakes up here. He is very afraid. He also knows from his father that what was the actual matter. He immediately runs to Nancy. Then Nancy and her friend plan that they could not get courage to rescue others, but they will move back to school to rescue themselves. They will revolve it. Nancy's friend says on the way, I need a dose of medicine. He goes to the store to take a dose of medicine. When more time has passed, then Nancy chases him into the store, where the light begins to dim and the darkness prevailed. In the same way as Nancy dreams, she is not understanding that it is either a dream or the reality. It is a dream without any suspicions because Freddy frightens coming into a dream. Freddy struggles to attack Nancy as he witnesses her. He also wants her hand, but Nancy tears her dress and one piece of dress comes in her hand. Then she comes back into the real world. Her friend restored her senses, coming to her. Now, both of them reach to their childhood preschool together. It is looking abandoned and there are lying old objects including photos and people's possessions. There are also the things of those kids which have been killed by Freddy. Nancy says to her friend, "We will kill him before he victimizes us," but her friend asks how it will be accomplished. He lives in the world of dreams and we lost our control in our dreams. Nancy says, "If it is incredible in the world of dreams, then it is credible to kill him in this world, dragging him here. I brought his piece of cloth, can I not bring him here?" It means it is their trick as they will drag Freddy into this world. Nancy's friend says to her, "Take some rest. You did not sleep a long time, so I sit beside you." As Nancy falls asleep, she goes into the profound sleep. Her friend begins to care her, sitting beside her. I may wake her up as he begins to feel fear. Being tired, he is also fallen asleep, and he again reaches that factory, where Freddy says, coming to him, "What do you think that you will protect, Nancy? He has to pay who comes to compete me. He wants his body badly." As a result, he falls there. Now, Freddy starts to frighten Nancy, moving towards her. "Look, all people are looking at you, who have been killed by me. You are thinking that I will let you go? I will also kill you in the same way." He throws Nancy into blood and attempts to give her severe injury. Then Nancy hits something in his eye, but Freddy tells him that I cannot get any harm in the dream world. It is useless for you to do it, so listen to me quietly. Nancy threatens him, "I will kill you. I will cross every limit for this." Now Freddy becomes aggressive and Nancy is also there. Freddy is going to kill her while moving towards her. Then Nancy's friend wakes her up. Fortunately, she awakens. Nancy had also caught Freddy, so Freddy had also comes into the real world along with Nancy. It is the want of Nancy and her friend. Now they had a very good chance that they may kill Freddy. If he is guilty in the real world, then it indicates that he is no more now. But Freddy is very aggressive, knowing his life is at risk, and he has to rescue his life at any cost. So he injures Nancy's friend, going to him, and he is nearly to kill him. Then Nancy appears there and she dismembers his hand, which is screwed, and she also beheaded him within a moment. Freddy's expressions convey the message as he is finding difficulty to believe that Nancy killed him, who is satanic and evil powers. Now he meets his end. Freddy burns that place, so Freddy is again burned. Nancy and her friend burns that place, so Freddy is again burned. And all his belongings are burned which had been arranged by him. Nancy takes his wounded friend to the hospital. She says to him, sitting beside him, "You will be healed soon. Look, we arranged God to save our life. Now, Freddy will never ever come back." In the next scene, it is seen that Nancy returns to her house with her mother and begins to converse with her. "Thanks a lot to all of you. Parents think good for their kids. And I have killed Freddy." Her mother is standing in front of the looking glass. Freddy comes from there. He disappears into the mirror or in his world while wounding her mother. As Nancy said that she has killed Freddy, then Freddy wanted to prove that I cannot die. The movie also completes along with the scene. Thank you so much for watching.